Hey kids, do you like wrestling? Well, we like wrestling too. We are Shake Them Ropes here on the Voices of Wrestling Podcasting Network. Myself and Chris Novembrino kind of doing a lazy river of wrestling criticism, going through the news and whatever happened in stateside television wrestling. And also, you know what? Sometimes we just like to watch old stuff and talk about that too. Love for you to give us a listen. If you haven't already, we are Shake Them Ropes here on the Voices of Wrestling Podcasting Network.
This podcast is a member of the Voices of Wrestling Podcasting Network. Visit voicesofwrestling.com to hear the rest of our great podcasts, as well as show reviews, columns, opinions, and updates across the world of wrestling.
Here we go! Kiss me like a love star. So I'm coming. Whoa, kimi ga kata omoi. Namida no shitsure Give me fire, give me that what I desire.
You're listening to the Emerald Flow Show on the Voices of Wrestling Podcast Network.
Welcome to episode 75 of the Emerald Flow Show. We're a podcast on the Voices of Wrestling Podcast Network. You can follow us on X at Emerald Flow Show, and you can listen to us on all of your favorite podcast apps. And if you're on Apple Podcasts, leave us a 5-star review, and you can donate to the show at voicesofwrestling.com/donate if you're feeling generous. I'm Gerard, here back with Paul, and Paul, we've got a lot to talk about as you rush in the door because you would
basically, yeah. Got into the door like 5 minutes ago, I think.
Watching wrestling on the train.
Yeah, watching wrestling on the train. Yeah, one match specifically. And also, I just realized, as you said the number, we're 75% of the way there to 100 episodes.
Yeah, we are. I don't know.
Actually.
You don't really have a set schedule. Who knows when we'll hit 100?
Yeah, it might be sometime between, I don't know. I actually, just broad math would tell me some like May, or maybe around like May or like summer next year, maybe. We'll see.
It's very possible, depending on if crazy stuff happens.
Yeah, that also might be the thing where we do a bunch more episodes. It might be that we do like way more episodes like late in the year or like around January time, since I'm actually here this time.
Yeah. The funny thing is though, who knows? If All Japan were ever to go back to the schedule it had in 2019 before we might have to record more.
Yeah, at that point, yeah.
I don't even think Noah. I'd have to check, but I think Noah runs more shows, than All Japan now. But I'm not sure that before the pandemic or
no, I don't think any promotion really does. I don't think even New Japan.
I
think New Japan is close. Same with Dragon Gate. I think they're also relatively close.
So, we got a couple of things to start off with, and I did not expect this. I guess it's something out of nowhere, but also not surprising at the same time. Shawn Michaels announced that Yoshiki Inamura has reported to the Performance Center in Orlando, and he's going to be joining NXT, but it sounds like it's an excursion, and not that he's signed with WWE.
I like you, but here's the thing: you don't really go on an excursion in WWE, right? Like, if you show up in the Performance Center, presumably you're going to get signed by WWE sooner rather than later. Like, I feel like this is basically they're not saying he's signed because he's technically still under contract to Noah, so they can't say they signed him. So they're just waiting until his contract expires, and then they're just going to sign him full time. Because if you're on TV and everything, like they're not putting you there unless they fully expect you to like be with them in the near future.
Yeah, probably. I'll just say good for him, because if this is his escape from after getting treated the way that he did, then good for him as far as I'm concerned.
No, I mean, generally, I'm not super happy if like a guy of that talent like leaves Japan, but it's not like even if they book him by like WWE standards and the way they generally tend to book male Japanese talent, which, spoiler alert, unless your name is Shinsuke Nakamura, is terrible. It's not like that's going to be any worse than what Noah was booking him like, and I also feel like they probably weren't paying him great either. So I feel like even whatever WWE is offering him is probably better than whatever like Noah was paying him. So, and hey, maybe he's lucky and he catches on. Let's see.
Well, here's the thing: he's not large by WWE standards.
Yeah.
And like Nakamura's charisma could translate in North America. I'm not so sure that that's like his type of charisma.
No.
He's not going to get into slap battles, dangerously suplex people in NXT.
Probably not, no. I mean, maybe with the right opponent, but yeah.
I mean, he'll probably get put in some sort of faction or somebody's heavy, maybe.
Yeah.
And he might have it like a semi decent run in NXT, but I don't see anything. But by simply going to NXT, if he does even remotely okay, if he does better than Jiro does, then he can like probably go where he wants WWE to go back to Japan.
I mean, generally, yes. Like I said, I don't think necessarily a big W, or like not big, but like a WWE run. I think it's often overstated how much Japanese talent actually benefits from that when they go back to Japan. Like there definitely have been cases. Like obviously the most famous one is like Muto coming back to, but like Muto was already presented as a prodigy when he went on excursion in the first place. Like he was already main eventing shows. Like I don't think people really like realize that how highly positioned he was as a young lion. There definitely are people that have benefited from it, but then for like everybody that like raised their profile by like going to Japan and even just having like a bit of a middling run, like there are also cases, like more recent cases like Jiro, obviously, where he hasn't been helped by that. I don't think Kushida has been helped at all by the fact and he had a relatively decent run, all things considered.
Actually, yes. But he was also older.
He was also older. I also don't think that like a Yoshitatsu has benefited in the slightest from like going to the US. So but like for example, obviously like positive examples would be guys like Taka Michinoku and everything, who obviously massively benefited from the US run.
Yeah.
So
we'll
see.
When Taka did that.
Yes, that's also very different times. Yeah. So I don't know. We'll see how he does. Like I could actually see him get put with the like does Dempsey still have the faction and everything? Like I could see him get put with like those guys.
No, but maybe. I assume so.
Because I don't really see like where they would put him otherwise, because it's not like Triple H's tendency to put people of the same ethnicity into the same faction. And I don't think there is like a Japanese faction currently in WWE, so they can't put him in there. So like they're probably just gonna put him with like the serious I hope they put him with the serious wrestler faction, because the alternative is like some weird comedy stuff, which I could also absolutely see them like go the route of. So I wish him the best. I really genuinely do, because I think we've been complaining for a long time now how this guy has just been terribly misused. So I really hope that finally things actually like turn up for him. It's just that I don't know if WWE is like, the place for that, just given the history of how they've booked Japanese talent.
So let's say he's there for 2-3 years and he actually signs with WWE.
Mm-hmm.
He gets released. Does he go back to Noah?
He shouldn't, right? Like but at that point, like the other thing you have to remember as well is that he's not that young. Like if he stays there for like, he's going to be in his mid-30s if he gets released that quickly, right? Like, let's say he just does a short run that short, he's going to be in his mid-30s by then. I mean, I could see him go back to Noah. I could also see him go to All Japan. I think he would be a great addition to that roster, and I think they would take him even if he's in his mid-30s. But I don't think, for example, that he would go to like New Japan unless he has like somehow. But if he has a big run in WWE, he's not gonna get it released in 2 years. So like either this is either it, and he's never coming back to Japan like a Tozawa, or it's going to be a run where like he might gain some notoriety, but it's not really going to make him a massive star either. And there's no guarantee that if he goes back to Noah, they would push him, right? Like, I mean,
I could see them maybe pushing him a little more if he actually goes back, maybe, but we'll see, right?
Yeah, I mean, if he becomes like a shooter, maybe. Actually, you know what? He should go to the other TKO property. He should go to UFC. Then they would absolutely push him.
And keeping on that WWE talk, so there's rumors going around. I was debating whether or not even to talk about it, but we might as well, since now WWE is now putting out names of people on their ID deals. But there's rumors going around that Katsuhiko Nakajima has a WWE ID deal, and we may learn about that between the time we record this and the time that we get posted, because they're like, every couple of hours they seem to have a new name that they.
I mean, that might come out while we record.
Yeah, I'm just gonna load up the WWE ID Twitter account. So they've just signed, well, somewhat Japan related. They have Jack Cartwheel on a deal, who's now Jack Summit, and they have also announced Zara Zakher as having a deal, and she's been in Tokyo Joshi. In fact, she's got a Princess of Princess title match up against Miyu Watanabe coming up in like a week or two, which is actually I'm really looking forward to, because I think Zara Zakher has been really great in Tokyo Joshi. So that's a bit of my first like, I don't care about Jack Cartwheel. But
yeah, who cares?
I'm like, that's too bad. That's someone I'm enjoying in Tokyo Joshi Pro and everything like that. So that's the first like, oh no, I can't believe they have a WWE ID deal. But anyway, Paul, what do you think of this? Do you think it's real? Do you think it's just a rumor because the Nakajima WWE rumors had already been out there? What do you think?
Yeah, so if he actually has that kind of deal, he is just the biggest goober ever, right? Like, the man's like 37, 36, something?
36, I believe.
Yeah, so like the man's 36, and he signs like it isn't even a developmental deal, right? Like, this isn't even like Inamura showing up at NXT. This is literally him signing a potential developmental deal at age 36. Yeah. Like, if he actually signs that, like, that's just a complete joke, right? Like, why would he agree to that?
Yeah.
Like, the man's been wrestling for like 20 years. Like, why would you ever sign a maybe developmental deal? Like, a deal that is like the equivalent of like, yeah, we have our eye on this person, and maybe it will like lead somewhere, or maybe it won't, and maybe we'll actually bring them into like our like actual developmental program. Like, if he does, and he's a weirdo, so like that's why I can't discount it completely, because he's just a weirdo. I just like, I would feel humiliated if WWE comes to me. If I'm Nakajima and the things I've done in my career and the places I've been, and that's the type of deal they offer me, I would feel insulted. Like, I would feel like AJ Styles when he got that first offer from WWE, and I would be like, no, absolutely not. I'm not signing this. Like, this is a joke. So no, if I'm Nakajima and I'm offered this, I'm turning it down, not even thinking about it.
Do you think he signed this deal because like he needs a few extra bucks because he's not exactly setting the world on fire?
I mean, that might be the other thing. But like, do we even know if these people get paid by WWE? Right? Like, as far as I understand it, the WWE ID deal isn't really that they pay you yet, because you're not on a contract. They just give you some assistance, whatever that actually means. But yeah, I mean, maybe it's like because he sees it as the only path for him to the US.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I guess maybe he should have actually just stuck around to Noah one more year, and then he could have just, gone directly. But that's Nakajima.
Yeah, he's this might be real mean, but he's now the Trent Seven of Japan.
Ooh, that's rough. That's really mean.
It's funny. Do you think they're gonna make him bully other people into?
Oh God, yeah. There's like somebody in Japan that is like, oh, I don't know if these deals are good, and then he just tweets in Japanese, not the way.
Speaking of wayward sons, Kota Ibushi.
Ugh.
I forgot to put this on the run sheet, but I just got reminded of it. Kota Ibushi seems to have burned his bridges with DDT and is now like showing up in Marvelous.
Oh, yeah,
With all due
this
respect
is
to Marvelous. But-
yeah, this is worse than like whatever Nakajima's done, really, because at least Nakajima is still on Wrestle Universe.
Yeah.
Didn't get screwed up. He didn't get like unpersoned. Like he wasn't
Well,
like.
he did not. Okay, so I didn't check, but I heard that Marufuji versus Ibushi match is.
I mean, if there is any
one that's
match they
really-
should purge off of Wrestle Universe, it's that one.
Yeah. So like Sonic Club made some comments like, oh, you know, like they're just here to see Ibushi. These aren't real DDT fans, and he took offense to it.
I mean, it's also like such a thing where it's like, dude, it's wrestling. Like you should see that and be like, oh, this is perfect. I can set up a really big match off of that. Which I also feel like, I mean, yes, they were like, was the Sonic Club shooting there a bit, and were they probably genuinely miffed by that? Yes, but also, I mean, this is the oldest thing in the world, right? Like where you use that kind of and Japanese promotions have been doing this since forever, right? Where they have always been a bit like shooty like that without going too deep into it, but it was always a case of like, yeah, we're doing this, so we're gonna like build up a big match, so like he could like have a bunch of matches with the Sauna Club guys, shut them up, and then eventually you like build to like Ueno versus Ibushi at like a big show basically, and then you blow off that feud however you want at that point, because I mean it's pretty clear also if you look at Ueno's look and everything that he's all very obviously inspired by Ibushi.
Yeah, for sure.
So yeah, but it's very obvious that Ibushi just, you know, is not in the right place mentally in many aspects still, because if like these comments weren't even that harsh, right?
No.
Like it's not like they were saying like all they were saying is like, yeah, Ibushi, like he was here in the past and now like he's trying to come back, and that's miffing us because we've been trying to like rebuild the promotion. Like that's like, tell me where's the lie in that? Like that's all true. And like it's not like they were saying, yeah, Kota Ibushi, you're a useless bum and you just had a terrible match with Marufuji at the beginning of the year where you completely like if they had like shot on him basically being like, hey Ibushi, remember when you completely embarrassed yourself at the beginning of the year, and they didn't do that.
Yeah.
Like I don't get why this was such a deal breaker for him where he just no-showed 2 shows and just basically completely burned his bridges. And I think at this point, I think this feels like one that is just not, at least not going to be repaired for a long, long, long time now.
And well, I mean, like at this point, the only thing like Ibushi is like relying on Kenny Omega for protection. And, like that's the only reason that he has a AEW contract, really.
I mean, when was the last time he had a match there?
Oh, I think he was in a Blood and Guts or something.
Yeah, but that was in the summer. Like that was like a long ass time ago at this point.
It's been a while. Let's see here, because it'll pop up. Okay. Oh, he has a. Oh, it's been over a year. Last time he had a match in AEW was on November 15th.
Okay, where's AEW contract?
2023.
No BS. Paul White or Kota Ibushi.
Kota Ibushi, because Paul White was funny on commentary.
Yeah, they've got nothing out of Kota Ibushi.
No, I mean he has had 12 matches since returning to wrestling on March 30th, 2023.
Yeah, that's not great. Yeah, that's like okay, not quite there yet, but that's like basically half a match per month. Now, to be fair, involved in that was also him just destroying his like everything in January.
Yeah.
But still, right? It's I just, like I said, I don't think he's looked good like since he's come back, and he's not been a draw either, right? Like they put him on the great shows and he just does not make a difference in the slightest. I don't think him versus Marufuji, like I don't think, like maybe a little bit he had a bit of an influence there on the Noah show, but I also still think just having been at the show, to me, what drew like the additional people to like fill out that arena a lot more was actually, no joke, the House of Torture. Like just based on the amount of like Bullet Club and House of Torture shirts that were like visible at the show. And like he looks bad. He does not seem to be very mentally stable. He does not appear to be a draw. So I don't see a reason why you would bring this guy in at the moment. It just does not seem to have any benefits. And it's probably not of benefit to him either.
Yeah. No, it is not looking good for him. So we'll see if he pops up anywhere. God, I wonder, depending on how things go, would you be shocked if a certain President Fukuda makes him a phone call?
Maybe. I would say, I mean, if this was Fukuda from a year ago, yes. I would say Fukuda after he kind of like the thing that I want to say this very tactfully, because it's obvious that certain decisions around this time last year were made while Fukuda wasn't necessarily a very sound mind, and for somewhat good reasons. I mean, the man had lost his wife, like he was literally grieving. Like that guy would definitely probably try and call Kota Ibushi. I don't know if the current guy would be doing that unless he knew he could draw a house with Ibushi. And if I'm Fukuda, I'm looking at the numbers that shows have done with Ibushi on the card, and I would be like, is this actually worth it? And I don't know if he would be like, yeah, it is. And then I'm also like, well, where would he even put him? Like maybe if, like, depending how things look like early next year, maybe for the carnival. I would probably like ring him up for the carnival and see if he wants to do that, because I think that actually I think would make a difference. The question is, can his body withstand like a tournament schedule?
Yeah. So since we're also on the topic of DDT, Paul, you watched the main event of their free show.
Yes, of the in the Sumida General Gymnasium arena, which, by the way, is actually where New Japan had the New Year's Dash show. And I have to say, the arena is relatively hard to get to. It looks pretty nice on camera, I have to say. But I have no concessions at all. There isn't even a vending machine in the building. And if you've ever been to Japan, you know how outrageous it is if there isn't even a vending machine. And I got to the arena kind of hungry already. And I actually left New Year's Dash early because I was starving. I actually had to get some food. But aside from that, so the main event of this one, and I just watched like the main event itself, and it was pretty full. But again, I mean, it was literally a free show. But I mean, it was still like nicely filled and everything. Crowd, I think, was pretty good as well. And in the main event, Chris Brooks defeated Shinya Aoki in 21:46 with the modified Manjigatame for his second title win of the KOD Openweight title and ending Shinya Aoki's title reign. The match itself, I thought, was a very mixed bag. I think one of my main problems is that I just do not get Shinya Aoki, because you look at like the other like shooters or like catch can guys. Like I don't think he's as good a mat worker as Hideki Suzuki. I don't think he's like as good a brawler as someone like Kazuyuki Fujita. I don't think he's as charismatic as like Minoru Suzuki. Like I just don't really understand what exactly he brings to the table. And he does a lot of stuff that those guys do as well. Like in this match especially, like he ate up Chris Brooks for a lot of it. He just completely no-sold like some grappling attempts from like Chris Brooks, which I get that it makes sense that like obviously Aoki would be like superior to like Chris Brooks when it comes to like mat wrestling. Like I don't think that's outrageous, but like I don't really think the way that was done in this match was, I don't know, it didn't really make me enjoy the match at all more. It was also worked weirdly in a way where like it makes more sense if you watch the match. It's very hard to explain. They worked the match in a way where they worked it as if the size difference was reversed.
Yeah.
like there were a bunch of spots that basically only make sense if Shinya Aoki is the taller wrestler, but he's not. That is not even close. Like they aren't even close to the same height. Like Chris Brooks is huge. It in height, not like width.
Yeah.
But like for example, they like did a pile driver, and it was very obvious that Aoki couldn't properly get up Brooks because he's too tall. Like Brooks basically had to do a handstand and drop himself into the pile driver.
Oh god.
And yeah, and then same like basically towards the finish when like very close to the finish was where like Brooks tried to do a crucifix pin on Aoki, but Brooks's legs are too long and Aoki's arms are too short that he couldn't really, like he couldn't close it on the other end because like the legs, like you know what I mean? Like it's hard to explain if you haven't watched it. Like Brooks is attached on the one side, right? Like he has like, and then like if you're doing the crucifix pin, right? You like basically you wrap your thighs around like one arm and then like you wrap the lower legs around the other arm, right? And then you pull him backwards. But because Brooks's legs are so much longer, he couldn't really do that. And the crucifix just looked really like it felt so long that it took him to actually get Aoki into a pinning position there. And then he basically transitioned from that one into the finish. And I just don't think the match really worked all that well. I'm happy that it is back on Brooks. I think he's super over. I think his last title reign was actually pretty good. So
It was, yeah.
Yeah, and again, like I said, I just do not understand what Aoki really brings to the table. Like, someone please tell me if there's just something really obvious that I'm missing there with him. So I'm happy that the title is off of him.
I'm a little higher on Aoki than you are, but I did not necessarily enjoy the way that the reign went, especially in terms of that match with Hirashima
Oh yeah.
and everything.
I mean, that was more disappointing. I didn't really go in. I mean, maybe because after the Hirashima match, I went into this one with not exactly super high expectations, but yeah. I don't think it was like a disaster or like really terrible match. I also don't think it was a good match either. It was just kind of there with some, it was just a match that was mostly just there with some like blown spots as well. So yeah.
Well, the thing that I am, update WWE ID, former Noah wrestler Sean Legacy.
I mean, hey, good for him, you know.
And it's funny because the tweet says he was scouted at a Noah tryout.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, how long has Legacy been gone from Noah?
Oh God, it's 2 years now, right? It wasn't like the last N1, but it was like the N1 before.
So did Muto give them a list of like people he liked?
Maybe. The one thing that raises my eyebrow on this reign is that they're doing Chris Brooks versus Daisuke Sasaki at Ultimate Party.
Yeah, I don't
get that
one.
Just seeing that could that be we're gonna crown Sasaki on the big show at Sumo Hall.
Are we really doing Daisuke Sasaki in 2024?
2025 by then too.
Oh God, yeah, Jesus.
Because it'll be like on the 28th of December, 2025.
I mean,
Damnation.
Like that's a guy that's been washed for like what 3 years at this point, and it's not like he was like a super worker before that.
Yeah, exactly.
Like he was a guy that could have like a good like plunder match.
The only Daisuke Sasaki match I've enjoyed in the last couple of years is the one against Keno.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no, because Keno was just the perfect like straight man for that.
Yeah.
And where he literally like set his like leg on fire and everything.
So that's the only thing that brings me pause. Because we'll talk about this a little later, but like could this just be another like transitional raid for Forder?
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely one that is a very obvious transitional reign that we'll get to later. I mean, I hope not. I don't know. I feel like they have a bit more respect for Brooks than like doing a transitional reign.
He lives there and has lived there for a few years now. And
yeah, which is kind of funny because again, when he went there, right, it was like kind of at the beginning of COVID and he was really only supposed to stick around for a bit and then he just never left.
Yeah.
Because he got stuck in Japan and then was like, you know what, I guess I'll just live, you know.
Yeah. So, I mean, I just feel like Chris Brooks is very over in DDT and it just feels like a regression if you go back to Sasaki.
Yeah, I don't. Like, it's a very, like, I feel like that means they have something else lined up for that show. Like, they probably originally had a big Ibushi match, but I guess that's that now. But, like, Daisuke Sasaki versus Chris Brooks isn't, like, as much as it was praised him, like, that's not a Sumo Hall main event.
No.
They have to have something else lined up there, like, if that's your title match.
Yeah.
Like, even if it was, like, Chris Brooks versus, like, Ueno or Mao, I would feel like that's, or Hiroshima, that would feel more like a Sumo Hall main event than, like, this does. And I don't know, like, have you seen any indication that they're like, yeah, we need to, like, push Daisuke Sasaki? Like, if anything, I had more of a feeling that they're actually, like, more like de-emphasizing him. That's why this was so surprising that, like, he's the big challenger for Sumo Hall.
I mean, to me, the person that should be chasing Brooks is Mao.
Yeah.
But, you want to do that, like, next year and that kind of thing.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. That's why I'm also like, yeah, this just doesn't make any sense. Like, because not like Sasaki has been involved with a lot of stuff, or he has even really any, like, matches lined up really as well either. Like, for the most part, like, Damnation TA, like they were always, like, a key part of, like, storylines and DDT, but that hasn't even really been the case over the last year. They've just kind of been, like, mid-card menaces on the roster at best.
Mm-hmm. So another show that I just watched, and I just watched one match of this show just before we started, the Fighting Detectives 2 from Shinjuku with Love. That was on October 23rd. They did 495 fans. Shinjuku faced for Supernova against Full House. I watched the main event. Battle Arts rule. Kazunori Murakami and Takuya Nomura defeated Yuki Ishikawa and Fuminori Abe in 27:54 with the shoulder hold on Nomura from Nomura on Abe for the submission win. Look, if you are a Battle Arts pervert, watch this match. But I can't quite recommend it just to if you're expecting what Abe and Nomura did like last year, it was certainly not that. Although they had some sequences like that with the crazy headbutts and all that. But I mean, like, there was also, Yuki Ishikawa and Murakami, especially, who are, like, so old. I'm going to be honest, probably all CTE'd up.
Yeah.
And, but it wasn't a bad match. It was just long. But the crowd deserves credit because they were pretty damn hot for this entire thing. And much like some of the criticisms of the Abe versus Nomura match last year, like, there's a lot of laughing from the crowd because that was also sort of the vibe. It wasn't necessarily we're going to kill each other type vibe to the match. Although, Murakami really did give some stiff kicks to Ishikawa and everything like that in there. But, if you want Battle Arts nostalgia, watch it, but don't go in expecting the main event from last year.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I've also heard, like, from some of the criticism I've heard of this match was, like, that it basically felt like two different matches, so that it felt like it didn't really feel like a tag match. Was that your impression as well?
Yeah, absolutely, right? Because most of the time, like, there was a couple of sequences where it was like, it was like Murakami versus Abe or like Nomura versus Ishikawa, but most of the match was like them paired off with obviously Murakami and Ishikawa had that famous feud in Battle Arts. That was really awesome. If you've never seen that feud, you could find some of those videos pretty easily, actually, like Kazunori Murakami versus Yuki Ishikawa. So it's sort of was bifurcated into like Murakami versus Ishikawa and Abe versus Nomura. And obviously Abe versus Nomura was the superior work in 2024, and everything like that.
No, I mean, even as someone that is not a very big fan of Murakami, I have to admit that, like, that feud with Ishikawa, like, is really fucking good.
Yeah. So, I mean, it wasn't a bad match. I can't recommend it to, like, casual drop in for 27-minute or almost 28-minute match type thing, right? They cut, like, this was 20 minutes. It could have been a lot better, I think.
Okay, fair enough.
So,
actually, on the topic of Nomura and Abe, because that match, actually, because you were talking about, right, the singles match, well, that actually got announced for WXW's Ambition tournament next year.
Oh, okay.
Well, not the tournament, for, like, their Ambition show, so they're going to have Takuya Nomura versus Abe at that show. And that is more of a shoot style show as well. So I was a bit on the fence if I was going to go to 16 Carat next year. But after that got announced, I'm like, I am genuinely thinking if I should just go over there just for the Ambition show and not even go to the rest of the shows. But then again, if I'm already over there, I might as well. So that seems very likely at this point that I will actually just have to go back to Oberhausen in March next year, because I can't skip out on watching that in person. I'd hate myself forever if I did that.
Yeah. So we move on to Noah with Monday Magic episode 2 on October 28th at Shinjuku Face, and they don't give out attendances for these shows. But we start with Great Sakuya and Hyan defeating Sadie Gibbs and Jesse Jackson in 1441 with a moonsault press from Sakuya on Jackson. Actually, this was a decent opener because Sakuya didn't just stall and do stupid brawling. She actually wrestled, and she's a really good wrestler when she's wrestling. I've heard Hyan is good, and I thought she was good here. Also, that Sadie Gibbs, who was like actually originally signed, I think, at AEW very early on. She was also really good here. So it was a good opener, I thought.
Yeah, no, Gibbs was definitely one of those people that were like early on, like positioned as like future stars of the women's division. And yeah, things kind of went off, didn't quite get there for her. But yeah, no, I also thought the match was solid overall. And then they announced that they're actually going to have a women's title now as well.
Yes, GHC women's title that's going to be decided on Battle Royale on Monday from when we're recording the show. Is it going
to be honest, I didn't. Sorry.
Oh, I was going to say, do you think it's going on Sakuya or on someone from Marigold or what?
I mean, Sakuya would make the most sense, right? Like, because she's like a Monday Magic original, the best way I can describe her. So I guess she makes the most sense here.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Other candidates, I think Takumi Aroha could also get it.
Yeah. Although I feel like this is going to be like same as the white belt, like a title that only exists on Monday Magic, right? Like that's not going to exist outside of it.
Yeah, so we'll see about that. And then next up, Dragon Bait, Anthony Green, Titus Alexander, and Vinny Massaro defeating Alpha Wolf, LJ Cleary, Starboard Charlie, and the JAC, or as I called him, the JAG, in 13. The big ugly from Alexander on the JAC, or JAC, not the JAC. I'll look. JAC made like zero impression on him. He's just a biggish guy. There's like a million of them on the US indie.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe he'll get some reps from being in Japan because I saw a picture of him. He's in the Marvels dojo with like Titus Massaro and all them. So, but he's got some work to do.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, if there is any place for a guy like him to get better, it's Japan.
Yes.
We'll see if he has the aptitude for it. Yeah. That's also the best I can say about this week, quite honest. Don't have much more.
It was actually solid enough.
Yeah, it's not like he looked horrible, but I was also I have seen so many guys that look exactly like this. Basically.
Yeah, exactly. Next up, Hayata defeated Shuhei Taniguchi in 1 minute and 22 seconds of the schoolboy. This storyline is getting too long in the tooth.
Yeah. I mean, I get if you want to do it, that like you need to drag it out because you need to actually like give Taniguchi a realistic chance to get to the weight limit, but why are we doing this? That's
I suppose one could say I would somewhat respect this if they were waiting for him to get to the weight, but still, just gone on way too long. It's not even that long, but for what the gimmick is too long.
And I mean, if it's a shoot and he fails, then we just wasted our fucking time.
Yeah. So whatever. Then Lucha de Morte, Junta Miyawaki and Yu Owada defeated Alejandro and Crystal Ball in 5 minutes and 49 seconds with a backside from Owada on Crystal Ball. So I mean, solid, quick match. All of these guys are good. Well, except Crystal Ball. We'll get to
well, I mean, okay, yeah, we'll get to that in a bit. Maybe we need to have a chat about Crystal Ball a bit and how good he is at wrestling.
And then
yeah.
Mascara contra Mascara. Alejandro defeated Crystal Ball in 6 minutes and 23 seconds with the Karama Watama. And this was the best Crystal Ball match I've ever seen.
Yes. Although I did think his match with Seigo Tachibana at the beginning of the year was better.
So Crystal Ball unmasks, and it's Yohei Nakajima. But the lights go out, and then he's got the Black Mensa-Ray mask on. So I guess I was somewhat infuriated by all of this because he was clearly wrestling.
Yes.
Others pointed out. So
so do you think he was always under that mask?
Yes, actually.
Yeah, because I looked it up and there isn't really any overlap where like it couldn't have been him. but obviously Cristobal was pretty bad. And Yohei Nakajima, at worst, is a incredibly solid pro wrestler. Like, he was a glue guy for All Japan for years.
He was good in the mask versus
Yeah.
mask that have it, right? He actually like turned it up a bit.
Yes, exactly. Like, so I'm thinking, like, was he wrestling bad intentionally? In which case, I'm asking, why?
To get the heat on Cristobal, like we're like, get this guy out of here type thing.
I mean,
That's the only logic to it I can see.
like, because my thinking was, okay, it's a very shiny, very big, clumsy mask, right? I'm thinking, could he actually just not see well out of it?
It's very possible.
That's why he was so much worse than, like, really any other role we've seen. But then again, it's not like Yohei Nakajima isn't used to, like, wrestling in a mask and different masks.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Whatever. That's over.
That's it. I mean, that's done. Cristobal's done. Like, we'll never have to talk about him again. Yeah.
When did Kai
now Kai Fujimura is actually in, and not just
Kai Fujimura actually in and doing a good job, I think. So anyway, Mensa Ray's going to be in Noah because he's booked on the show this Saturday in Osaka on the regular show, the limit breaks. I mean, hey, good for him.
Yeah, solid guy to have on a roster again. Yeah,
we'll get to more because, I think they could be on the verge of a sea change in the junior division, but whether they go through with it or not be seen. Next up, Go Shiozaki, Alhio de Dr. Wagner Jr. and Galeno Del Mal defeated Kaito Kiyomiya, Manabu Soya, and Shuji Shikawa in 1642 with the go-on lariat from Shiozaki on Soya. I thought that this was a pretty good match, like semi-main event Noah 6-man tag to heat up the upcoming title match between Soya and Shiozaki, which I'm actually very much looking forward to.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, no, that one, like, the crowd was hot for that as well, especially when they like started chopping the shit off each other after the match.
Yeah.
So
I'm glad that they at least had the sense to put the belt on, or at least the national title on Soya, given how much heat he's generated.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and I mean, it seems like they're setting up a bunch of title matches because you also had Masato Tanaka come out after this as well. And then you had like a 4-way stare down between Go, Soya, Ishikawa, and Tanaka. So, I mean, I don't think either of us is shocked that like it's very likely going to be Masato Tanaka that ends the Go Shiozaki reign eventually.
And then in the main event, Uko Sasaki defeated Masaki Mochizuki in 1401 with a Shining Triangle. This was really good. I think this is maybe the best or second best Sasaki match he's had, with the best probably being that one against Soya.
Yeah, no, I can definitely see that argument. And my thinking for this was also like, this is exactly the type of booking is why I love Monday Magic, right? Yeah. Like, where else are you going to see Ulka Sasaki versus Masaki Mochizuki? I mean, that's booking for the sickos, right? Like, that's just like it's like, oh yeah, no, absolutely give me that match. And I thought it was really good. I mean, it's still baffling how good Mochizuki still is. And I think Sasaki, like, did well here as well. Like, that's the other thing, right? Like, he's in there with these great workers, but I don't think he really feels out of place either. Like, he's not as good as Mochizuki, obviously. But again, like, he's less than a year in. So I think the fact that he can hang with this kind of guy is a very encouraging sign.
Definitely. So that was another pretty good thing of Monday Magic with some story progression and everything like that. Paul, just while we're on the topic, did you watch Keno versus Yamato?
I haven't actually, no.
Neither have I. Maybe we'll watch that and for our next episode.
I heard good things that it was significantly better than the match they had earlier in the year.
Yes, that was like the match they had earlier this year was a few to me. So we go on to the Akitoshi Saito Ridge Road Last Niigata on October 30th at Bandejima Multipurpose Plaza Okuma. Paul, I did not watch the Saito match because I am not watching Masao.
Yeah, I also did not watch that.
The man needs like a hip replacement. Painful to watch.
Yeah, he needs like a big wad of cash so he doesn't have to wrestle anymore.
Yeah, poor guy. So let's just do the N Innovation Tournament. Yuto Kikuchi defeated Yu Owada in 6 minutes and 37 seconds with the Tornado Stomp. I thought that this was short but sweet, just in terms of like how hard these guys went at each other. That the finish was just a little flat with Kikuchi hitting a couple of moves, but I did like the energy that they brought while this lasted.
Definitely. I also think they have a better match in them.
Oh, so, absolutely.
Yeah. Like, once these guys have like developed a bit more and everything, like, I mean, this is obviously like going to be like a match that will obviously a lot more in the junior division going forward. And
Well,
I definitely was like,
if
you know
I
what?
had my way, I'm going to be honest, Paul. If I had my way, I'd try to move Owada up to heavyweight as soon as possible.
You trying to move forward up? I mean, it's Noah, right? Like, I think
Yeah.
you reasonably could. Like, I would say he is maybe a little bit. Like I said, he is borderline. I think it depends. I think if he needs to put in a little bit more weight, and I think then he definitely is a believable heavyweight.
Like, I thought when he was teaming with Keno in that tag tournament, I thought he would.
Yeah. No, he definitely has talent. Let's see where they actually slot him finally. But I definitely think, like, either way, I think he's going to be great. Yeah.
And Innovation Tournament Round 1, Dragon Bane defeated Kai Fujimura in 13-11 with the Santa Maria. Yeah, this was very solid. Fujimura's off to a good start here, but I mean, Dragon Bane is just. Well, I said that I proclaimed that Yohei was the best junior in Noah a few months ago, and I think he's okay, but I think it really is push him as a junior heavyweight then.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no, like Dragon Bane, like he's been on fire recently. Like I think.
Yeah.
I mean, we're gonna get into that a little bit more later, but yeah. But for this one, I think to me it was like I think it was a necessary showing for Kai Fujimura as well to like finally be moved out of young boy status. And yeah, while he still lost, like he was obviously way more competitive than Owada was.
Yeah.
And yeah.
And then
like you can feel that he's happy that he's finally like out of young boy status.
Yeah, exactly. And he should be in All. He should have always been in All Rebellion.
Yes.
And then next up, I'll just talk about this main event real quick because Kaito Kiyomiya, Keno, and Alejandro defeated Naomichi Marufuji, Takashi Sugiura, and Hitoshi Kumano in 1637s with a modified Shining Wizard from Kiyomiya on Kumano. Solid match. I miss Kumano. He's actually pretty good for a guy that had like an eye injury and then barely wrestles, I gotta say.
Yeah.
All things considered, I would assume that either his eye is too damaged to a full timer or he's found another job.
Yeah, I mean, I would assume so because he would have had to like earn money while he couldn't work.
Yeah,
so, yeah, I think maybe he just is happy just scratching the itch every once in a while when like Noah comes by his like neck of the woods, and then otherwise just not doing anything, or rather doing whatever he actually does like as a day-to-day job.
And then on the show on the 2nd at Yokohama Radiant Hall, I only watched the final 2 matches for the tournament. Asuka defeated Tadasuke in 8:44 with the modified crucifix hold. This is the other 2 round 1 matches. I mean, it was solid. It was short. It was of course Tadasuke just beating up Asuka and then Asuka coming back and getting the win. So 3 stars, basic.
Yeah,
but it was good.
Yeah, nothing special. I agree. And I do think the other match is the important one here.
Yeah. And then Junta Miyawaki defeated Yohei in 13 minutes and 55 seconds with the Ippon Nizi style Falcon Arrow. This was really good. I think this is the second best match of the and I mean, this was like in some ways finally Junta's got back to the orange gear. And he's feeling it and the crowd's feeling him. They were also feeling him. We'll get to a second. And obviously you're getting him a win over Yohei, who's like a solid veteran. It was a very good match because Yohei is also actually a very good junior, and I will actually die on that hill, no matter what anyone else says. And Junta's, I think Junta is finally feeling himself, and it shows in his work too because he's stepped up.
No, I mean when he came out in the orange gear, I was like, oh shit, he's winning, because that's the look that he had when he originally came back from Excursion. It's a look he had when they actually gave him a push and gave him a title match and everything. And I was like, is his punishment finally over for whatever?
Yes, was punishment.
Yeah, whatever, like indiscretion or whatever it was that actually happened there. Whether it be like, I mean, who the fuck knows? Like maybe he actually just smoked weed with the 2 guys. Yeah. Like who knows what that actually was. Seems like maybe it's actually finally over, and he like there was just a completely different energy to him than there even was like hell just at the Monday Magic show, where again it wasn't him that got the pin. So yeah, no, he felt like a completely different guy here. I think the crowd also instantly picked up on it when he came out in the orange gear and was just way more into him immediately, because I think they picked up on the same thing there. and also from his work like throughout the entire tournament. I'm like, you know what? Like to me, he like the quality of the work was like never the issue. Like it was just Noah being obstinate for like whatever reason. But if they actually get behind him, like they need to push young guys. They just absolutely desperately need to. And this is exactly the kind of guy you need to get behind. And I hope that this is a sign that they finally are doing it.
Yeah, for sure. So we go on to Star Navigation 2024 on November 6th at Tokyo Korakuen Hall in front of 916 fans. Paul, Sugiura versus Marufuji is drawing 916 fans to Korakuen.
I mean, it's not a title match though.
I
And
know.
it is a midweek Korakuen as well.
Okay, but
yes, you'd hope that draws above 1,000, but I'm also not gonna poo-poo the number too much.
despite what those crowd counters say, there was a very clear difference in the number of people in that building compared to the Aoyagi versus Ayabe.
Yes. Yeah, no, I mean the noise level was different.
Yeah, so fascinating to me how All Japan can outdraw Noah at Korakuen.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, we've been talking about that for a while now, where, right, like, this shouldn't be the case, just based on the means both promotions have available. But I mean, like, it's just been a thing for, like, well over a year now, and it's just the reality of the situation.
I did not watch the dark match, which was LJ Cleary defeating Hajime Ohara with the U-Paul.
No, I actually tuned into the match for like the first tournament match, and I was like, I could go back to it, but
Well, I think that was billed, I heard on commentary, as Cleary's first singles match in Korakuen. So he won it. So good for him.
I mean, hey, good for him, yeah.
Yeah. So round 2 semifinals at Innovation Tournament. Dragon Bane defeated Yuno Kikuchi in 11-22 with the front cradle. Solid match. Look, I think Kikuchi is a good addition to the Noah roster. I think he's got a little bit of refinement.
Yeah. No, he definitely does. I mean, he's young still as well. So I think there's time there. I think what he kind of suffers from at the moment is I don't think he's really fully figured out what he's going to be, right? Like he does a bunch of stuff other people are doing. And they were directly referencing that on commentary as well, where they're like, oh yeah, he's using this move from Hayato now. But like I think that's something that he still needs to do. He still needs to figure out what his style is actually going to be. Right. But like all of the fundamentals are there that like once he actually does that for him to like take like massive leaps, basically.
Definitely. So then we had the other Innovation Tournament round 2. Junta Miyawaki defeated Amaska in 3 minutes and 18 seconds, the pinfall cradle thing. I mean, this is just Miyawaki like doing a running drop kick to Amaska right before the bell. And, you know, they wanted to have that quick Noah junior sprint match, obviously most famously Kenta versus Ricky Marvin. Now it wasn't that. But,
no, nothing is though. Like that's one of the greatest matches ever.
But that was sort of like the vibe there, and it was like obviously Amaska getting the jump on the veteran and the former champion, and getting a big shock win.
Yeah, because he basically also like actually took control of the match for a lot there, and then just like Amaxa kind of came back a little bit, and then he just got like caught by Junta basically, and just lost the match. And I think both of them sold that really well. Like it was a bit of like, okay, the best way I can describe it, right? It was a banana peel win that didn't necessarily really feel like one, if that makes sense.
Well, no, because Junta was like not some slouch where he was getting his ass handed to him.
Yeah.
It wasn't like Nakajima versus Anzai.
No, it definitely wasn't that, yeah. Well, like Junta like dominated, like he like caught him early, like actually took a lot of offense early on. Then Amaxa got his comeback, but then got caught on a roll-up and lost like in 3 minutes. Like they got a full match structure in 3 minutes, which is always impressive if you manage to do that.
And then we had Shuhei Taniguchi, Eita, and Shuji Kondo defeating Hayata, Johan Tadasuke in 6:36 with the Maybach bomb from Taniguchi on Hayata. This was nothing, and it was just continuing that story.
Yep.
And then
also we're bringing back Maybach Taniguchi now, I guess.
So we get Jack Morrison Daga with Yoshitatsu defeated Uka
Don't forget about that part.
Yeah. And Daiki Odashima in 8 minutes and 32 seconds with a GLK from Morris on Sasaki. Okay, Paul, a couple things. I forgot to mention on the semifinal matches on the or the first round matches in Hall Show, Daga was sitting in the aisle eating food and watching the matches with his chopsticks.
Yeah.
It's hilarious. But you know what, Paul? This was a perfectly solid match, and then they did the fuck finish, Tatsu interfering, and then it was revealed that Morris had like a sort of like pipe or iron bar in his knee pad when he gave that thing to Sasaki before pitting.
Yeah.
So that's what this group is.
Yep.
And it's funny because I thought the match was like, you know what? This is perfectly fine wrestling. The Team 2000X bullshit. And I'm sorry, but Sasaki's got to get his win back over Morris before January 1st. If you ask me.
I mean, that's very obvious. Like, didn't they already announce that as a singles match?
Oh, maybe. I'll go over that in a minute, but yeah, we'll see.
But then that kind of like hurts Team 2000X, I guess.
Yeah, I don't think Jack Morris is facing Kaido on.
Yeah. But, like, because again, one of them has to lose, and I don't think. Yeah, I agree with you. Again, I guess like my thinking is still maybe that they're actually going to do Marufuji there now. Maybe. Spoiler alert.
And then next up, Anthony Green, Alpha Wolf, Luis Monte, and Gaia Hawks defeated Kaito Kiyomiya, Keno, Alejandro, and Kai Fujimura with the Wolf Driver from Alpha Wolf on Alejandro.
Mm-hmm.
Good match. Gaia Hawks is a wrestler from Taiwan. I'd heard his name, but I'd never seen him before. But he's solid enough. I think. And Stuart Fulton said something like, I don't know. I took it as a comment that he made on commentary that's made it sound like Hawks was going to become a regular, not just a regular Noah from now on. Well, I don't know.
I mean, it also seemed like definitely like something with Luis Monte as well, right? Because they were talking about him a lot on commentary as well, and talking about how his faction has just disbanded in Dragon Gate and what the future will actually hold for him.
Right.
So that might also be a guy that
could
might
they
be
swap
moving.
out Wagner for Monte?
I could see that.
Yeah. But good match. And it's funny because I think Anthony Green is really over, and now he's just spinning his wheels doing nothing after getting humiliated by Jack Morris.
I mean, they were teasing that he's gonna like form a team with Alpha Wolf, which would be weird. It's the best way I could say there. I mean, I could see that working though, but like that's okay. Why not? Sure.
Yeah. And then Go Shiozaki, Muhammad Yone, and Atsushi Kotoge defeated Manabu Soya, Harutoki, and Yu Owada in 9:37 with the kill switch from Kotoge on Owada. Again, this is another very solid match. Nice to see Harutoki on a non-limit break show, which, you know, I think they got their claws into him, and I hope so.
Yeah.
You know, this is in Korakuen and everything like that. So he would be another good addition. And you know, obviously Soya and Shiozaki chop the crap out of each other.
Yes.
Build up their match. And
I think it's pretty safe to say that Harutoki is like gonna be like either gonna sign a contract or just be announced as like a regular sooner rather than later.
Yeah.
I feel like once you graduate from like limit break to like main shows, like that basically means you're like either signed or you have like some sort of like handshake deal to be like mainly a Noah guy essentially.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's another good rating of the Osaka Indies from Noah.
Yeah. I mean, they got Keno out of it.
Yuto Kikuchi and Harutoki, I think, would both be just solid younger guys to add some depth type guys, and they're solid.
I mean, again, you just look at like the times Noah has done this have pretty much always paid off for them. Like, right, Kotoge, they got Kotoge from there as well. They got Keno, and they also got Harada and Hayat.
Hayata.
Yeah, Hayata as well, right? Well, which I mean, right. As much as we poo-poo Hayata, it is undeniable that the man sells merch. So at least they got that out of him. So, you know, Yohei, Tadasuke. So yeah, I absolutely get why they do this, because the success of it is obvious.
Oh, Keno was a Michinoku Pro guy.
Oh yeah, that's true. He was a Michinoku Pro guy.
And then Kazuyuki Fujita defeated Masakitami in 8:31 with the soccer ball kick. This is kind of great because they just beat the shit out of each other. They just beat the
shit out of each other. Yeah, this is that's what I mean. Like, this is exactly what I want from Fujita. It's just like, don't even leave your feet. Just like clubber like another piece of meat. Basically.
To be fair,
exactly what they did here.
Fujita did leave his feet because he got slammed a couple of times by but they were just basic, you know, body slam bumps.
Yes.
Paul, could Fujita being heated up for?
Yes, I mean, we do say that, but it definitely felt like this, right? Because he hit him with the beast bomb, pulled him up from the pin, and then just soccer kicked him in the head for the pin.
Yeah.
Which, actually, I will say though, I don't think the crowd was very happy about that. Right? Because they were literally chanting, Kita Mia, as he was getting pinned. Because I don't think they realized that was the finish. Whereas, like, I saw that and I was like, oh, guys, no, this was obviously the finish. Oh. So, who knows?
Could you see Kiyomiya versus Fujita on January?
I can see it. I wouldn't do it, but I can see it. I don't
If it was okay, if it was like 100% Fujita's like, okay, I'll lie down for you, do it.
I mean, but then it kind of depends on the match structure as well, right? Like if it's just literally Fujita beats the shit out of like Kaito for 20 minutes and then loses on a roll up, I don't think that's good.
Yeah.
Especially if you do that in fucking Budokan. Actually, the other one I could see, I don't think that's a Budokan match, but they have also been talking about the fact that like Luis Mante got a pin on Kaito in the N1.
Right. Okay. So that could be something, right?
Mm-hmm. Now, I don't know if that's a Budokan match either, but it would definitely be... I would feel more confident about Kaito being put over properly in that case.
Yeah, for sure. Okay. So, in the next match, we've got an Innovation Tournament Final. Dragon Bane defeated Junta Miyawaki in 16 minutes and 20 seconds with the Bane twist. This rocks, Paul. And is this the best junior singles match in Noah this year?
I would have to think about that.
I think it was.
I definitely, it's definitely up there. I went like 4.25 on this. I thought this was fucking awesome. 4 stars. Yeah. This was so good. Like just Junta just selling his ass off. Like Dragon Bane just looked like unstoppable here. Like, yeah, no, I thought this was great. Like the high flying and it was great. Just Junta being like the unkillable baby face who just would not give up, and then eventually he falls. I think this was a match where like both the winner and the loser were like massively elevated.
Yeah, I don't think it's a big deal that Junta lost. Like he was awesome in this.
Yeah,
like they went to the dives right away early on type thing. Paul, I'm looking at this year because all we've had is Daga and then the brief Amaska interregnum.
Yeah,
I thought some of those Daga matches were actually better than I expected, but there was nothing at this
level. Yeah, for singles matches, yeah, I would say so. I would feel like maybe there's some tag matches that were better, but singles matches. I mean,
you know what? Tadasuke had some great tag matches, but this is the best singles matches in June.
You know what? I think I can because I can't think of anything to really dispute that. So you know what? I think I agree.
Yeah. Now and then Daga attacked Dragon Bane after the match. I don't think Dragon Bane is winning.
You don't?
No.
I actually feel like he is.
Okay.
Because Daga just came out of a long reign. Like I don't think he's gonna get like a long reign again because he basically already beat everybody, right? Like whatever you do is like, and here is Daga versus Yohei again, and here's Daga versus Maxa again. You know, like whereas with Dragon Bane, that's all of it is fresh like matchups, and you can eventually like loop back around to like him versus Alpha Wolf again. Because now that is actually a match that you've actually like, you know, how I was complaining for like forever that like all they ever do with Dragon Bane and Alpha Wolf is have them face each other. And now they've actually kept them apart for a bit. So now I feel like if you actually like, I don't know, like February or March next year, you do that as a title match, that would actually feel fresh now. So, and like again, all of his title defenses all of them would be like fresh singles matches as well. So I think to me, the time is ready to like flip it over to Dragon Bane, and then you do with Daga whatever you want to do with Daga, where like do like more Team 2000X stuff. Whereas that's really the only thing where I'm like a little bit hesitant is like how much Team 2000X weirdness is there going to be in this match as well. That's, I don't know.
And then...
But just real quick, I will say though, on the topic of Daga, I did like him on commentary.
Yes, it was.
And it was actually interesting because he was trying to do the heel shtick, right?
Yeah.
And then Stu still kept it as like the sports focused one, and just you realize that it was kind of throwing Daga off a bit as well, because he thought Stu was just gonna like do the normal like baby face play-by-play announcer of pushing back on his stuff. But then Stu just kept agreeing with him, and Daga realized that he kind of had to pivot a little bit.
So, and then in the main event for the GHC heavyweight number 1 contenders match, Takashi Sugera defeated Naomichi Marufuji in 23-41 by referee stop with the front neck lock. I don't know, Paul. These guys are getting old.
Yeah, this was like, if I had to rank the matches these two had against each other, this was probably the worst match between them, right? Like, I don't think it was bad.
No, I don't think it was bad. It was just,
but it was
not
there.
Marufuji.
No,
was,
yeah.
We know when Marufuji turns it up. And
Yeah.
He was not.
And we know Segura can still go.
Yeah. But and Marufuji was not. I think Marufuji can turn it up fast more than he.
Yeah. I'd argue he turned it up more in the match against Axel Tischer that I saw him in Germany.
Yeah.
So it's weird that, like, I don't know, it was a relatively high profile match, but it didn't really seem like either man was like this felt like they had a singles match in like Yokohama Radiant Hall instead of Korakuen. It was weird.
I mean, it wasn't bad, and I thought the last 5 minutes were fine, but it's just a little slow going, perfunctory. Yeah. So it was what it was. Just to get Segura that win. I was sort of expecting Marufuji, but we'll see. Maybe you're right. January 1st, it'll be Marufuji. Although it seems strange to have him lose a number 1 contenders match like less than 2 months before.
You can rebuild him relatively easily.
Yeah.
And, I mean, it's still Marufuji as well, so I don't think it really hurts him too much. And Segura makes sense because the show is in Nagoya. So you put the hometown guy there.
Well, so let's talk about upcoming shows then. So the next big show for Noah is this Saturday, November 9th at Osaka Edion number 2. And we've got Masa Kinomiya, Amatsuka, and Black Mensa-Ray versus Anthony Green, LJ Cleary, and Yu Owada. That is unironically a good match, even though it is very some strange.
Yes.
We got Tadasuke and Yuto Kikuchi versus Junta Miyawaki and Daiki Odashima. Again, random, but could be good.
Mm-hmm.
We got some Keno, Alejandro, and Kai Fujimura versus Muhammad Yone, Atsushi Katoge, and Hajime Ohara. We've got Jack Morris Daga with Yoshitatsu versus Dragon Bane and Alpha Wolf. God, Alpha Wolf's eating a bat or something to the head.
Probably, yes.
We've got Uka Sasaki versus Harutoki.
That should be good. And again, more evidence that Harutoki is just, a guy on the roster now.
Yeah. We got Hayate.
I mean, it looks like he's replacing Daiki Inaba, really.
Oh, what happened? Oh, Inaba's injured, right?
Yeah, Inaba's injured, yeah.
Yeah, I totally forgot about it. We got Hayata and Yohei versus Shuhei Taniguchi and Ada.
That's the one where, like, if he makes weight, it's going to be a title match.
Okay. And then Akitoshi Sato, Ridge Road, last Osaka. So his last match at Osaka, we got Kaido and Marufuji versus Sugera and Saito. I feel like that they'll turn it up. And then in the main event, you got Manabu Soya versus Go Shiozaki for the GHC national title. Ooh, I'm excited.
Oh yeah, no, that's gonna be a chop fest.
And then 1 week later, on Sunday, November 17th, at Dolphins Arena in Nagoya, we've got Manabu Soya and Kazuyuki Fujita versus Masakita Kondo, a little beef tag. We got the GHC Junior Heavyweight match, Daga versus Dragon Bane. We've got.
I mean, if they keep that one bullshit free, it should be really good.
Yeah, we've got the Saito retirement match versus Akitoshi Saito and Naomichi Marufuji, which was made after Saito came out after the match.
Mm-hmm. I mean, that's a good retirement match.
Yeah, that's a good retirement match because Marufuji's like day one Noah guy.
Yeah,
and then main event Kaito Kiyomiya versus Takashi Sugera.
I mean, it should be sick, right? Like, even if the setup match was disappointing. Like, there's no way Segura isn't gonna like put in full effort for this match, and Kaito is really good. So exactly. I have very high expectations for that match.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we'll see. As much as I have a roller coaster relationship with Noah, I mean, I'm feeling a little better despite Inamura not being around. I'm happy with their signings of like Yuto Kikuchi and Harutoki.
Mm-hmm.
Yu Owada's coming along nicely. They've made the right choices. All Rebellion. I don't think they're going to punk out Kiyomiya anytime soon.
Nope. It is still like obviously the big concern is obviously like, well, what's the future of like your heavyweight division? Because I don't know,
Yeah.
that's still a bit up in the air. But I mean, again, we know that like the issues that Noah had aren't issues that you can
No.
fix very easily. Like it's gonna
Or
take a
fix
while.
quickly, yeah.
Yes. Like I think they can fix them eventually. It's gonna take a year or 2 years realistically, at the very least, to do that. And it's just going to be a bit of a bumpy ride, but I think right now we're like on like the upper we're closer to like the upper part of the bump than like the lower part of the bump.
So then we are moving on to All Japan Pro Wrestling. Paul, we're not going to go through every match on these shows.
No, that's gonna take. We're gonna be here
And,
until tomorrow.
also
Just
did
a
not
quick.
watch
No, sorry. Just I need to tell the listeners that currently on the run sheet we are after an hour and 18 minutes. We are on page 3 of 10. So if we go for every single match, by match, we're gonna be here for a while.
The reason why they were on page 3 of 10 is because I put the entire Real World Tag League lineup in there as well.
Yes.
So we don't have to go over all of that. We'll just look at the opening show, which is this weekend, and like the last 2.
Yeah.
But that is funny. So on this first show, we start in Sapporo and we end in Sapporo later. I watched Yuma Aoyagi versus Taishin Nagao, which was the opening match of and I watched the main event.
Okay. I think that's really the only stuff we need to talk about. Like there wasn't really much the rest of it, to be quite honest.
So into Taishin Nagao.
Oh yeah, no, I like him as well. Yeah. I think that's a guy where like his fire, like I think there's some stuff I think that's a bit rough still, but his fire is so fucking good.
Of course. Yes. And they put him in against like all the big names real fast because he was in a main event on this.
Yes.
He was in his hometown, of course.
I feel like that's almost the thing that All Japan uses to attract young guys, where it's like, hey, do you want to be like in like big spots on the cards, like basically immediately? Then come join the All Japan dojo.
So obviously against Yuma Aoyagi was a lot of fun. Yuma roughed them up. The rest of the show was. It was a very repetitive tour with a lot of tag matches.
Actually, one match.
Sorry.
Quickly want to touch on.
I watched it. I forgot. And I can't believe I missed this. We got to talk about Yuma Anzai versus Ryo Inoue.
Yes, that's literally what I was just trying to say.
Well, this might be the best sub 10-minute match of the year.
Yeah, no, that was so good. Yeah, and like Ryo Inoue, like obviously Yuma Anzai is the man. But Ryo Inoue, like he is shooting up my rankings so fucking fast right now. Yeah. I knew he was talented, but like my God, he's been on fire recently.
Yeah, just awesome match. I was like, he like takes it right to Anzai early on. Great match. So much fun. And he would keep this up on the whole tour. Really, like the MVP. One could argue the MVP of this.
It's between him and Tachibana.
Yes. So then we go to the main event. Jun Saito and Ray Saito defeated Cyrus and Hartley Jackson 1658 with the barbecue bomb from Ray on Jackson. Really leaning into the gimmick.
Yep. Look, might as well.
This wasn't very good.
No, it was not. I was very disappointed.
I don't think it was. Do you think, given how the Saitos have been, given how Cyrus is a tag match, I don't think it's unreasonable to expect a better match.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I was like, you know what? And especially like how good like the Saitos have been against like other guys of that size as well.
Yeah.
Right? We just talked about recently about how like how did they get like a good like 30-minute match out of like Kuma Arashi and Hokuto Omori. And they did it. And this was half that length. And it was so much more low energy. Like so weird. Like it was such a like run of the mill, like literally paint by the numbers defense.
And just brawling outside for so long. Which they do in every Saito Brothers match, but I don't know.
This is like the worst Saito's like title defense in like probably ever.
It might be.
Trying to think. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because even going back to like the first reign and even going back looking at the like G-Rex title reign as well, or G-Infinity title reign. Like I think all of those title defenses were better than this.
Yeah. I don't know. Unfortunate, but whatever. We're heading into the Real World League, so everyone will forget about this match anyway.
Oh yeah, no, like nobody will talk about this. Like
And then,
Actually, we'll probably be the last people to talk about this match ever. Let's be realistic here.
Then on the 28th at Tomakomai City General Gymnasium, it's in front of 488 fans. Nothing on the show except the Mr. Saito PWF World Junior Heavyweight title. Mr. Saito Narukidori defeated Seki Yoshioka in 12:58 with the pinfall cradle for his 5th defense of the title. I think they should have gotten more time, actually, a couple more minutes, but it was still pretty good.
Yes, like I think this was like probably one of the best defenses of Doi on this reign. I mean, Seki Yoshioka is great. I was actually low-key hoping he was winning the title, but yeah, it's clear that they're like saving this like title change for like one of their own guys.
Doi's injured.
Yeah, we'll see how that goes. I really hope it doesn't have to.
You can punt it till the January.
Yeah, because you don't have to have him around for the Real World Tag League, so you hope that
if he's ready by December 31st, he'll be fine.
Yeah, you can get away with just being like, I don't know, the junior champion is just off the show, and we don't even really have to talk about it because, hey, look, here's the Real World Tag League.
Okay, and I also watched the match right before, which was the Saitos versus Jiro and Sego, and it was fun to lie. And then Tachibana got pinned after a double chokeslam.
Yep, I was actually surprised that he actually took the pin there. Yeah.
So that was fun. That was really it from that show.
Yeah.
And then on the 29th at Yotsuba Arena, Tokachi Main Arena, 517 fans. First of all, let's talk about this opening match, Ren Ayabe versus Taishin Nagao. Perfectly solid match. Obviously, they were playing up the very large height difference between these two guys.
Yeah.
But well, this had the greatest ending of a match featuring a rookie ever, because Ren Ayabe just gave him a very huge back body drop and it was awesome.
Yeah. No, they're really making use of like Ren Ayabe's size now. Where it's just like, no. And I mean, Taishin Nagao is probably one of the smallest wrestlers ever in All Japan. Like, he's not small really by like, or noticeably small by like other promotion standards.
He would be small in New Japan. Maybe not Noah, and certainly not Dragon Gate.
Yeah.
But he'd be small in other countries.
Yeah. No, yeah. But in All Japan, he is like the tiniest person ever, basically.
Yeah.
Because everybody's freakishly tall.
You should lean into it. And I think
absolutely.
The fire.
Yeah.
You know?
Like, be the fiery underdog baby face is like the perfect role for him.
Yeah.
And he was really good here in this one as well for that.
Yeah. And then Gera TV title, Seigo Tachibana defeated Kuroshio Tokyo Japan in 12:58 with the pinfall. I thought that this was, I was somewhat surprised that Seigo won, but it was very nice of him, nice of his good friend to put him over, I gotta say.
Yeah. I low-key expected a title change here, yeah.
I thought the match was fine. I don't think it was great or anything. I don't think among the best Seigo TV title matches, but it was perfectly fine. Had the right finish.
I mean, there is very much like an upper limit on like Jiro matches, basically.
Did we talk about this on last episode? But the fact that Jiro is now doing more jobs.
Yes, it's very noticeable. I mean, and now he's even jobbing to like Seigo Tachibana, which I think that is very noticeable. Yeah.
And then the main event.
But again, hey, as I mentioned on the last show as well, Seigo is literally helping him sell merch, so you might as well put him over. Like, the man is literally making you money.
Look, they're an act now, and I think.
Yeah.
I mean, I think Anzai and Hayato are holding these All Asia tag titles for a while, but it would not shock me if.
Eventually, yeah, I could see that.
And then
also Seigo Tachibana, greatest gay Aura TV title champion in history. I know that's not saying much, but like, I think it's very obvious now.
Greater than Yohei Naka.
Yeah.
Yeah. Main event, All Asia tag title. Yuma Anzai and Rising Hato defeated Kento Miyahara and Ryo Inoue in 24:48 with the gimlet from Anzai Inoue to make their first defense. Oh, this is the best match on the tour.
Oh, yeah, by far.
And it was great. It flew by. And look, this was this was really the Anzai and Inoue show.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Hayato and Miyahara did their roles just fine, but this was really about those. And Inoue,
they have such great chemistry.
Yeah.
Like, I think Inoue is slightly too small to be a heavyweight in All Japan. Like, he could be one of Noah. So I don't think we'll get that many. I mean, maybe we will. Like, we'll probably get them in like stuff like this, like tag matches and everything. But
Yeah.
like these two have such amazing chemistry. Like I really hope that like we just get many more opportunities to see them against each other. 'Cause they just click really well. And I mean, technically, it was in some regard involved in training Anzai, as weird as that sounds.
Yeah. So that was the best match of the tour. Easy. I went like 4.25 stars on it.
Oh yeah, same. No, this was awesome. This was also like the most high profile match for like the All Asia titles in like forever, really.
Yeah, for sure. Probably not as high pro. Last time it was high profile was when like Nagata and Akiyama were the champions.
Yeah, exactly. And this was much better than that.
Yeah. And then so then we go to October 30th at Windhill Kushiro Super Arena Sub Arena in front of 510 fans. I watched the opener, which was Alpida versus Zenichi Hontai. So it's Ryuki Honda defeated Ryo Inoue in 8 minutes and 39 seconds, the final event. I mean, this is good, real good for what it was, like opening 30-minute match. And then I watched the main event, which is Taishi Nagao triumphant local return. Rising Hayato, Yuma Anzai, and Ren Ayabe defeated Yuma Aoyagi, Kento Miyahara, and Taishi Nagao in 19 minutes and 21 seconds with the brainbuster from Ayabe on Nagao. And this was great. And you better believe that Nagao was pretty damn good for a guy only a few matches.
Yeah. And he really like this was like, again, we were saying, right? Like he was showing fire a lot, but I feel like especially in this one, obviously, because it was his homecoming as well. Like he was really like laying it into like Rising Hayato as well, especially with his forearms and everything.
Yeah.
And yeah, no, I think they have something there with him. Like I think, again, obviously a junior, but there's something you can do with this guy. And I think he needs to like iron out a little bit of stuff, but I also have a feeling that he might be moving up pretty quickly.
Yep. And then we go to November 1st at Asahikawa Local Industry Promotion Center in front of 440 fans. I watched the opening match, which was Reiki Honda and Ren Ayabe versus Musashi and Seki Yoshioka. And then Honda pinned Yoshioka in 11:39 with the final event. This was actually a very good tag match.
Yeah. I was surprised that was the opener. Like I watched this and I was like, wait, this is the opener of the show? Okay.
Yeah, no, it was good. It could have been elsewhere. And what else? I watched the main event. It was Kento and Davey Boy versus Rising Hayato and Yuma Anzai. 115-23, and then Kento pinned Hayato with a shutdown. It was pretty good. Not as good as obviously the All Asia Tag title match, but a good main event. And then on the second in Bihoro Sunny Center in front of 540 fans, we had Seigo Tachibana defeating Noriyuki Yoshida in 7:19 with the La Magistral to make a second defense. I mean, it was a perfectly solid match. I think Yoshida is a solid guy, like indie guy that they bring on always when we go up to Hokkaido, and so it was fun. It was too short to be anything for Tachibana has been putting out and everything like that. What else did I see on this show? Oh, Ryuki Honda and Ren Ayabe defeated Shitaro Shino and Dan Tamura in 12:45 with the final event from Honda on Tamura. Again, very solid match. And in the main event for the six-man tag team title, we had Hokuto Omori, Kumarashi, and Cyrus defeating Suwama Hideki Suzuki and Hokkai Kumagoro with the Narcissist Press from Omori on Kumagoro for their first defense. Well, look, I'll say this about this match. It was better than the World Tag Title match.
Yes, but it was okay. I don't know. I feel like I said, this is the perfect team to hold this for right now. And the opposing team didn't exactly blow my doors off. So, yeah.
No.
But I also agree that it was better than the tag title, the Saitos versus Cyrus and Hartley Jackson.
Paul, I forgot to mention
Not
the show on
by
the
lot.
30th had the Saitos versus Andreza, Giant Panda, and Kumagoro Hokkai. Not very.
No.
I mean, unless you like that comedy with Andreza. I mean, okay, I'll be funny. Andreza and Ray Saito running into each other was funny, but that's all that match had.
Yeah. Like I actually generally like a lot of the time when they have Andreza stuff, but I just don't think it really worked all that well in that match specifically.
Yeah.
It also was too long as well. Like Andreza is somebody that is really a lot better when he's best enjoyed in very short bursts, basically.
And then on the 3rd in Mikasa City Sports Center for the 586 fans, I watch on I think just the main event, which was Kento and Davey Boy Smith Jr. versus Musashi Seki Yoshioka with the Bulldog Bomb from Smith on Musashi. I mean, I thought this was pretty good, and I was surprised with how much they gave Musashi and Yoshioka here against like two of the top heavyweights of the company.
I mean, they were doing that quite a bit during this tour as well, right? Where they put Musashi and Yoshioka as heavyweights.
Yeah, they're trying to make them seem credible, right? They're probably going to get a big upset in the tag league, I think.
Yeah, which I mean, yeah, they might be like a team, they might be a team that like upsets someone like at the very end to basically eliminate a team from contention. Yeah. I could totally see them like fill that role.
And then we move on to the final match of the tour on November 4th at Hotel Amicia Sapporo in front of 789 fans. Start off the show with Musashi and Seki Yoshioka versus Suwama and Hikaru Sato. They defeated Suwama and Hikaru Sato 923 with the Estrella Futuro for Musashi on Sato. Solid opener, actually, I thought. Then Shitara Ashino and Dan Tamura defeated Kento Miyahara and Ryo Inoue in 1026 with power bomb from Sato on Tamura on Inoue. And I thought that this was a pretty good match, actually. And I'm really looking forward to this Ashino and Tamura team in the Real World Tag League.
No, I do think they have really good chemistry. It's just like I said, the only thing that bothers me a little bit is like that Tamura is the focus of it and not Ashino. Like I feel like okay, like realistically, Gerard, who is going to get pinned more during the tournament in this team?
Oh, probably Ashino, but we'll see. I don't think it's impossible that Tamura, but I'm leaning towards
and I don't know, that still feels wrong, but here we are.
Hokkaido Rumble. Hokuto Mori defeated Taishin Nagawa with the crab hold in 751, and then it was like order of elimination: Noriyuki Yoshida, Tomoya, Kumagoro Hokai, Hideki Suzuki, Kuma Arashi, Cyrus Gao. The stuff with Cyrus getting eliminated towards the end was kind of fun, but whatever. It's a Japanese battle royal. Like, what do you expect?
No, they're really all that great. I will say it was notable though that they had Taishin Nagao as like the last guy in there.
Yep. And then Rising Hado and Yuma Anzai defeated Kuroshio Tokyo Japan and Sega Tachibana in 1230 with the Sid Vicious from Hado on Tachibana. Again, very solid tag match. And then
I'm surprised they didn't make this a title match.
Yeah, they could have. And then another road to the Real World Tag League, and I really think that this is a real preview match. Jun Sato and Rei Sato defeated Ryuki Honda and Ren Ayabe in 1452 when Rei made Honda submit to a crab hold. Paul, first of all, I really enjoyed the match.
Yeah,
it was good. These guys have good chemistry. It's just throwing bombs. Paul, is this a preview of the semis or the finals?
Gerard, I was literally about to ask you the exact same question. So I absolutely feel as well that this was like they are definitely I mean, it's very obvious that they're teasing that like when they run this back, the result will be reversed, right?
Yeah.
Like I think Honda and Ayabe have a very, very good chance of actually winning the tournament.
So do I. I think having the Satos win the Real World Tag League is something that you can build to.
Yeah.
You know, in a couple of years being like, oh, the Satos still haven't won the Real World Tag League. Will they ever really?
Yeah. No, absolutely. I feel like because that's like the one thing that's still missing in a way, right?
Yes. Now the question next, Paul, is that if Honda and Ayabe win the Real World Tag League, are they beating the Satos as well for the titles and whatever?
Yes, because I feel like if it hadn't gotten interrupted with the injury, right, to Rei, we would be looking at like a year-long title reign. And I mean, functionally, we still are because we just had the like very brief interruption of Hideki and Suwama holding it. And then otherwise, the Satos have held it for the entire year.
Yeah.
I think because at that point, we would probably be like, okay, it's time to move on to someone new. And I also feel like regardless, I think it's time to like give it to a different team for like a little bit. And then you can always go back to the Satos eventually, but I feel like it's probably a good idea to like go with a different team for at least a while.
Yeah, I'm thinking so too. And then main event that everybody's talking about, the Triple Crown, Davey Boy Smith Jr. defeated Yuma Aoyagi in 22 minutes and 6 seconds with the Bulldog Bomb. You know, Paul, the day before this show, I was listening to Wrestling Observer Radio, and Dave was talking about how, Davey Boy Smith's going to challenging for the Triple Crown tomorrow, and he called it the biggest match in Smith's career. And I'm like, is that true? And I rolled my eyes at that at first because I know obviously Davey Boy talks to. I'm just hyping this. But then, like a little before the next day, not long before the show, I'm like, wait a second, is he gonna win this? Is he gonna win this? And he did. And obviously, Dave was tipped off to it like that.
I wonder by whom.
Oh, yeah. Look, I mean, I thought this was good, not great. I thought in some ways the early goings of this match was a little more interesting than a lot of the other Aoyagi matches in this reign because I enjoyed the more technical work. And then, I thought the finishing sequence was good, not great. I did enjoy Davey Boy Smith doing his Dr. Death tribute with the backdrop driver and the backdrop hold. But, I mean, like, I don't think it was bad. I just didn't think it super high or anything, which seems to be the case of all of these Yuma Aoyagi matches. His match against Rena Abe might turn out to be the best match of this reign, which I think about.
Yeah.
The one against Kento had a good finishing sequence, but it was, I don't know. I don't know what to think about this, Paul. I'm not like upset or freaking out or anything like that, but is this a transitional reign? Because part of me wants to say obviously, but part of me wants to say
no. I think it's very obvious a transitional reign. I believe I also kind of called that this is kind of the road they were going to go down when they announced that they signed him, right? Because if I remember correctly, I said that at the very least he's going to get a shot at the title, and I think he had a chance of winning it and then losing it basically like at Yoyogi or like soon after. Because again, he signed a 6-month contract, which was very notable because when he signed it, it was like a contract that was gonna end basically like around the time of like the beginning of the next year, essentially. So that just lined up very nicely with him getting this like short transitionary reign and then him losing it to like Kento or Ansai. And I don't think this is a bad idea. For one very simple reason. Because if it is, like if this actually turns into a long reign, then I do think it's a bad idea. Because I just don't think that like Davey Boy is that kind of guy that should get a long title reign. But if it's just a short transition reign to somebody else, then I think it is a good idea because that way you get the title back on, like realistically, either Kento or Ansai.
Yeah.
Without having to give away another Yuma loss to either of them. Like, you don't have to give away Yuma, like Ansai finally beating Yuma Aoyagi, which you probably don't want to do now already, right? And you also don't want Yuma. Again, you had Yuma just beat Kento in 2 consecutive title matches. But still, like, I get why that maybe, like, isn't the match that you also want to run back that quickly, but maybe you want to put the title back on Kento. So I get why maybe like putting another guy in the middle of that makes a lot of sense as well. And again, I fully expect that like this title reign will end in Yoyogi. And the other thing as well to me that became very clear with this move as well is that the original plan was very clearly that they basically wanted to mirror the end of 2023.
Yeah.
Right, because he basically lost it at around, like Yuma Aoyagi lost the title at around the same time he lost it last year against Nakajima. In the same place as well. Yeah, same place. And that they were just going to run back Kento versus Nakajima in Yoyogi again, but this time Kento was obviously going to win. And Nakajima had to be a shithead and ruin that. But they still kind of stuck with the plan otherwise.
Yep.
Right? Because I think we also argued whether or not it was always the plan for Ansai to win the title, where he did against Nakajima. But again, I feel like maybe actually their plans were basically unchanged for the entire year, with the exception of they just plugged Davey Boy Smith into the role that they wanted to put Nakajima in. Which actually makes me curious if their original plan was to team Nakajima and Kento in the tag league.
Well, this is getting my next point. Are they going to transition to like how do you transition to doing Kento versus Davey Boy on December 31st then?
I mean, there isn't a lot of time. To build any match there, really, right? Like, it would have to be something you have to do during tag league.
Well, in tag league, you could have Ansai pin Smith.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. It's either Ansai or Smith. Like, it's either like a thing where like basically they like lose out on like basically like Smith and Kento get eliminated on the last night and Kento is like, okay, and now I'm going to challenge you for like the title or whatever. Like you can do that. But yeah, I also agree that like it's Anzai otherwise, where Anzai pins Smith during the tag league, and then it's like, hey, like I've earned my title shot, give me a title shot. And again, then it also makes more sense where like again, that's why you don't want Yuma Aoyagi in that match, because you don't want to give away that win yet. So that's why I am actually like, the more I've been thinking about it, I am actually like leaning towards like that. In that way, they like flipped it to like Anzai as well. Where I definitely do think that the original plan was definitely to like mirror it and then to have Kento like win there. Whereas now maybe they're like, yeah, okay, let's do Yuma Anzai, and then maybe Kento wins it again after like he wins like the Champion Carnival 2 years in a row, and then finally beats Anzai, the guy who made his debut 2 years ago.
Yeah. Oh, and Davey Boy Smith's like Johnny Ace.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of that one.
Oh God.
I mean, I get it in at least so far as like, yeah, that's like the All Japan guy, but like,
well, no,
man,
Johnny Ace would have also like, he knows Johnny Ace from his time in WWE.
Yes, obviously, but like,
but
man, maybe don't thank the guy who's currently getting sued for sexual assault. Maybe just don't do that.
He is not the sharpest knife.
He isn't. But you know.
So yeah, I mean, here what I see in All Japan is somewhat, they're running into a small problem. They got a December 31st show. They don't really have anything beyond a main event, whether it's Anzai versus Smith or Kento versus Smith, because then you're coming back a couple days later with the back-to-back Korikins.
Yep. Now, to be fair, they had that issue last year as well.
Yeah. Well, no one from NXT is coming in again.
No, because they're going to be on the January 1st show for Noah.
Yeah. Paul, what do you think about giving, if this is a transitional reign for Smith, what do you think about giving Mike D a title shot on January?
Ooh, him versus Anzai would be so good, actually. Yeah, no, I am absolutely on board for that. Yeah, let's go.
You know, I'm just,
Kurikan would eat that up.
It's gonna be, or I could also be Cyrus or something.
Oh no, please.
I know they're just gonna have to figure something out, because then it's like, what do you put the tag title match on December 31st as well, or do you say that for Clark?
No, yeah, that's what they did this year as well.
Yeah, but you're running out of things to use. Like this is not going to be. I don't know. They're not going to. Well, obviously they're not going to do what they did last year, because they don't have any matches big as not going to.
No.
But are you going to even get to 2000 again? I don't know.
What I could actually see them do is run back Saito versus Saito.
Yeah.
Because the Saitos are going to be like, well, we don't have a tag match again this year, so we're just going to like face each other again. And you can put the junior title on that show as well.
Yes.
Like Doi versus.
If Doi's ready.
Yeah. I mean, the other question is, I mean, you could probably, I mean, if you're not going to do a Triple Crown shot like that quickly again, you could also do like an All Asia tag title match.
Yeah. Or sorry. Yeah. Anzai and, for sure. Depends on who's.
Because with that team, that you can main event a show with that title now.
Okay.
You
here's
don't
the thing.
really normally can.
Oh, I just realized something. They're not going to put the Triple Crown on Anzai when he's the All Asia tag title.
Yeah, actually, I kind of realized that as well as I was saying it.
Yeah, so it's like, it's Kento. It's got to be, right?
Unless they somehow, but then how would they lose the All Asia tag titles now?
Exactly. Time? So, yeah, unfortunately, I think it's Kento versus Smith. I don't really see what else he got.
Yeah, but then you can, like, again, then you can put like Anzai and Hayato like title defense on the undercard. So,
yeah. So this was breaking news before we started the show, but there was another Jiro Produce show today at Shinjuku Face, and they claim 600 sold out.
Sure.
And guess what? Once again, Jiro put himself in every match. So listen to this. Yamato and Kuma Arashi defeated Shuji Kato and Kuroshio Tokyo Japan. Yuma Anzai and Rising Hayato defeated Kuroshio Tokyo Japan and Brahman.
God, I definitely am not gonna go back to like see that.
Kuroshio Tokyo Japan and Hideki Shrek Sakine defeated Super Delphin and Momoko Hanazono.
God.
Shuji Ishikawa defeated Seigo Tachibana. And then the Smash new champion deciding match. Kuroshio Tokyo Japan defeated Takuya Kido. I don't know if that's the right because this is a machine translation.
Says Yuji
Okay.
Kito on.
Okay, yeah,
Prologue.
on Cage Match, yeah. Yuji Kito. That name sounds familiar, but he's 48 years old.
Is he like a former Smash guy? Must have been, right?
Yes, he was. He beat him in 7 seconds to win the title.
Mm-hmm.
And then it says former Smash CEO Masakazu Sakai appears and he calls on Shotaro Shino to be the assassin for Kuroshio. So then Shotaro Shino beats the Smash title in 13 minutes and 1 second. And then they're having a match. Jiro's having a produce show on Korakuen Hall, and Jay think that's the
So
again.
What are the odds that he wanted to do that with the Gaora title, and all Japan told him no and kept it on Tachibana?
Oh, I don't know. I don't think that's the case, but it could be.
No, but also this still makes sense, and also you kind of call back to like Ashino tormenting Jiro back in Wrestle 1. And hey, Jiro has his Ashino has a singles title again.
He does indeed have a singles title again. Let's just see. Let's see if that show pops up on AJPW TV because the other Jiro produce.
I could see it, yeah. Which I'll probably go back and watch like Tachibana versus Ishikawa and then
And the main event.
Smash title stuff, yeah.
Okay, real quick. Real World Tag League starts tomorrow on Saturday, November 9th. First show, Korakuen Hall. We've got the Saitos versus Makoto Oishi and Mike DeVecchio.
Yep, that's gonna be fun, yeah. Because the Saitos are gonna be able to base for like all of Mike's like crazy stuff.
We got Hokuto Omori and Kuma Arashi versus Daisuke Sekimoto and Kengo Mashimo. I think this Sekimoto and Mashimo are going to win that.
Yeah.
We got Kento and Davey Boy versus Suwama and Hideki.
This is a match that is like it's going to be worse than the sum of its parts.
Yes. We got Yuma Aoyagi and Fuminori Abe versus Hikaru Sato and Yuko Miyamoto.
That should be fun.
We got Kuroshio Tokyo Japan and Seigo Tachibana versus Cyrus and Hartley Jackson. And that's
well, I can tell you already what's going to happen during Jiro's entrance.
So that's the first show. But quickly, let's fast forward instead of going through the whole tournament. The last two shows, because not everyone has matches on these last two shows. So it's over the last two shows. So on the very last night, the Saitos don't have a match, but they have a match on the show before, and it's the Saitos with Hokuto Mori and Kuma Arashi, which I think they're going to win.
Yeah, because it just
so this is on the December 1st. And then we got Shotaro Shino and Dan Tamura versus Daisuke Sekimoto and Kengo Mashimo. We got Suwama and Hideki versus Cyrus and Hartley Jackson.
I could see Cyrus and Hartley win that to like upset like Suwama and Hideki.
Yuma Aoyagi and Fuminori Abe versus Jiro and Seigo. And then we've got Ryuki Honda and Renai Abe versus Hikaru Sato and Yuko Miyamoto.
And what is the match after that? I know it's not a tournament match, but I do think we kind of need to mention what the match after that is.
Musashi and Lothar versus Seki Yoshioka and Almighty Inoue.
Yeah, it's really gonna bring in the Almighty Inoue 2024.
And then on the last show before the finals, which is at Shinkiba, we got Rising Hayato and Yuma Anzai versus Daisuke Sekimoto and Kengo Mashimo. That seems that could be something.
That could be, especially in Shinkiba. That's going to be hard.
We got semis and finals, right? That's how it's going.
Yes.
Yeah. And then Musashi and Seki Yoshioka versus Taro Shino and Dan Tamura.
That should be good too.
Someone's getting knocked out there, I think.
Yes. And it may or may not be a shoot. We'll see.
Hokuto Omori and Kuma Arashi versus Makoto Oishi and Mike DeVecchio. I think that's a wash.
Mm-hmm.
Kento Miyahara and Davey Boy Smith versus Cyrus and Hartley Jackson. So if they beat Hideki, yeah. Okay. And then we got Suwama Hideki Suzuki versus Hikaru Sato. And I don't know. I don't like all of these things like spread out like this. I want everyone to have a match on the second last night before the semis.
Yeah, it's always weird that they because there's gonna be teams eliminated or whatever.
So some teams have two matches in a row, some don't. So yeah, my prediction: Ayabe and Honda. Is it out of the realm of possibility that Smith and Kento win?
But then you have even less of a reason to build that into a Triple Crown match. But
yeah.
I guess then you could do the tag title match on one of the like January Hurricanes. But I like gun to my head, I don't think they win.
All right, Paul. Any final thoughts?
I really hope it's not Suwama and Hideki.
I don't think so.
I'd be happy with almost everybody else winning except for those two. Well, maybe not Cyrus and Hartley Jackson.
Yeah, no. Well, anyway. So I guess we'll be back after the Seto Akitoshi Seto retirement show, and by then we'll be a few shows into the Real World Tag League, and maybe the Jiro Produce will be up on W.TV by then. So we will talk to you very soon. So enjoy all the wrestling out there. Bye.
Hey kids, do you like wrestling? Well, we like wrestling too. We are Shake Them Ropes here on the Voices of Wrestling Podcasting Network. Myself and Chris Novembrino kind of doing a lazy river of wrestling criticism, going through the news and whatever happened in stateside television wrestling. And also, you know what? Sometimes we just like to watch old stuff and talk about that too. Love for you to give us a listen. If you haven't already, we are Shake Them Ropes here on the Voices of Wrestling Podcasting Network.